Welcome to the History from 3, and today we're going to see our topic of establishment of colonialism in Africa. So this topic is among of the 4 topics which are found in this class, and for today we're going to learn more on our subtopic of the scramble for and the partition of Africa. So the first of all, we're going to know more about the definition of colonialism. So what is colonialism? That is the major thing we are required to understand in this topic, that what is colonialism. What is colonialism? So colonialism by definition, we can say that is the situation whereby the powerful nation dominate the weak nation in the level of economic, political, and social situations in that weak nation. So when you talk about colonialism started in Africa during the late of the 19th century. So the powerful nations of European nations came in Africa to establish their rule, whereby they dominate the Africa, which was weak during that time in the level of economic, political, and social ways. So therefore, as we can say, and as we have said, that colonialism is the situation whereby the powerful nation dominate or control the weak nation politically, socially, and economically. So this is the definition of colonialism, that it is the situation whereby the powerful nation or country dominate or control the weak nation politically, socially, and economically. So colonialism in Africa started in the late of 19th century. So colonialism in Africa, it started in the late of the 19th century. So the late 19th century, it is when the colonists came in Africa and established their rule. So let us see about the meaning of scramble for and the partition of Africa. So what is a scramble? When we talk about scramble, means the struggling, the situation whereby to struggle for something. So scramble means struggling for something. Scramble means struggling for something. So when we talk about scrambling and the partition of Africa, so Europeans came in Africa so that to struggle to take it or to own it. And when you talk about partition, means that dividing into pieces So colonists came in Africa to divide Africa into pieces, so that they divided they divided Africa into pieces for themselves, so that the definition of partition. So you're going to see the reasons which caused the scramble and the partition of Africa, or why colonialists scrambled and partitioned the African continent during the late 19th century. So we are going to see the reasons why the colonialists are struggling and dividing the African continent. So they are following the reasons which caused them to divide and struggling for the African continent as follows. The first reasons you can say is the psychological reasons. Psychological reasons. The second reasons you can say is what you can call diplomatic reasons. The third one you can say is what you call the economic reasons. And the last one you can say the Africans dimension reasons. So we shall learn one after another for these reasons of psychological reasons, diplomatic reasons, economic reasons, Africans dimension reasons. And for today, we're going to base on the economic reasons as how it caused the scramble and the partition of African continent. So let us see about the economic reasons. Economic reasons as the scramble and the partition of African continent during the late 19th century. So in the case of economic reasons, there are a number of reasons. Economic reasons carry a number of reasons which caused or which brought the colonialism to scramble and dividing the African continent. One among the reasons which are available in the economic reasons is what we call the demand for raw materials. Raw materials caused the number of Europeans during the late 19th century to came in Africa to find raw materials so that to feed their industries at their home country, because during the 19th century the number of industries in Europe was so many. So that number, it needed a lot of raw materials such as coffee, raw materials such as coffee, we can say tea, and as raw materials which are needed, can say cotton, and the other raw materials which are needed for their industries. So this the demand for raw materials, it caused them to come in Africa, so that to search for those raw materials. So they came in Africa to establish their plantations so that to get raw materials which are required to feed their industries at their home country in Europe. So that's why they scrambled and partitioned the African continent during the late 19th century. Another reason which are basing on economic reason is the need of market for their natural goods. Market for their manufactured goods. So when they established the industries in Europe, those industries produced a number of manufactured goods which were required markets so that they can sort them. In their home country, these manufacturers were men. So the people or the Makti became small in their home countries. So they decided to come in Europe to find a new area where they can sell their manufactured goods which are manufactured by their industries. So Marx caused them to come in Africa to scramble and partition the African continent so that to get a new area where they can sell their manufactured goods. And the age of Marx. Another factor and economic reasons is what we call to get the area for investment. The area of investment at their home countries was small, so they lacked the place where they can invest their capital for more profit. So the alternative way, they decided to come in Africa so that to invest their capital so that to make more profit for their capital, so that to benefit more. So the area of investment was inevitable for the African continent to be partitioned and scrambled with the Africa for the whites in Africa. So the area of investment is one among the factors and the economic reasons which caused the scramble and the partition of the African continent. So another point or reason and economic reason is what we call to get cheap labor. So colonists decided to come in Africa so that to get cheap labor for their activities, such as labor for their activities at their home countries, because during the 19th century the workers who can work for a long time and paid low wages, people had awareness about that things. So the alternative way was to come in Africa to find cheap labor who are unaware for the case of working hours and wages. So cheap labor, it caused the colonists to come in Africa to make scramble and the partition of the continent. So this is what I have for you today about the scrambling and the partition of African continent. So we have seen the number of reasons which cause the scrambling and the partition of African continent, and we have seen more on and we have based more on the economic reasons as one among the reasons which brought colonies in Africa during the late of the 19th century. So the next lesson we're going to see another reasons apart from economic reasons which caused the scrambling and the partition of African continent during the late of the 19th century by the colonists. So to be interesting in this class, make sure that you subscribe to them in my YouTube channel so that you get a notification when I upload a new content for you. Thank you for listening, and just have a nice day.